This is Reah, and this is Just the Who of Us, where we talk about a range of topics, including life events, current events, spirituality, entertainment, family relationships, as well as answering listener questions and more. This week, it's just me talking about the wellness wheel. The wellness wheel is a really helpful tool to use. The wellness wheel itself is kind of a diagram to refer to when you are focusing on your holistic wellness, your overall wellness, pertains to all components of your life, your surroundings, your insides, your finances, what you do with your free time, your career, your social circle, your spiritual beliefs, not religious, your spirituality. So just a little kind of overview on that. The first component that we're going to focus on is environmental. Your environmental component of your holistic wellness is the environment that you place yourself in, as well as the environment that you find yourself in. So sometimes we place ourselves in certain environments and, we can kind of control that. We can control what's going on around us. We can control when we have ourselves in these places. We can control when we choose not to. It's just what you're surrounding yourself with, what and where. The environmental component of the wellness wheel states, be aware of the interactions between the environment, the community, and yourself. Behave in ways that care for each of these responsibly. When you have control of your environment, you put yourself in certain situations. These situations can be healthy or unhealthy to yourself via the surroundings that you've placed yourself in. When you can choose your environment. Children, a lot of times, elderly, even young adults, there are times that we can't really control the environment we place ourselves in, right? Like, so you start a new job as an adult and you're unaware of the environment that you're placing yourself in. You haven't been in this environment to learn it long enough to determine whether you belong there or not, whether it's healthy. Things can start off well and then they become unhealthy depending on, the other people in the environment. Sometimes we can't control these, or we're children and we can't control where our parents put us, or grandparents or caretakers. Elderly can't take care of ourselves, and so we can't control where people put us. However, there are often times where we have ourselves in environments and we can choose them. It's important to understand that when you can't necessarily choose your environment or leave it, you can rather control its effect on you. So if we find ourselves in an unhealthy environment, what can we do inward and outward to change that environment for the better? Sometimes we try and we can't. It's just other people. They don't want to work on themselves, whatever the case may be, and we can't change that. So we need to take ourselves out of that environment. That's fine. It might take a little work, whether it be your job, your school, your home, wherever you choose to have, your recreational activity. It may take some work. And sometimes you don't have to leave. Sometimes you yourself, your personality, and your interactions with people can change the environment for the better. But if you are unable to do that, it's okay to leave. It's okay to leave the environment. Most of the time, we can try to work to make the environment better for us and everybody around us. Most of the time. Sometimes we can't, and that's okay. It's okay to leave. Find a better environment to place yourself in. The second component is financial. The financial component of the wellness wheel states, live within your means and learn to manage your finances for the short and long term. Budgeting. This is something that I talk to myself about a lot because I'm not the best at it. Investing, budgeting, determining where your money should and shouldn't go. I go to Dunkin' more than I should, partially for the environment. I don't I don't work in like an office or anything. I don't work where I go to work every day and I have a friend group. Most of the places I work in it's just me there. I'm cleaning, vacant houses or whatever. My coworkers are my children and sometimes my spouse. So, I don't have like a friend group to go with every day at work. So the conversation I was recently having with someone, and I said, I think the reason I go to Dunkin' almost every day is because when I come in, like these people are genuinely happy to see me and they feel kind of like a friend group. And I go and I'm willing to go spend money there every day to have these positive interactions, right? And I say, every every time I want to go to Dunkin', instead of spending $5 to $10 a day, I could just put $5 in stocks and then I'd be investing back in myself and in the company. But, that's a logical way of thinking that our emotions don't always point us to in the moment. My emotions are telling me, oh no, go in and have these positive interactions. So it's just kind of a relatable example on, hey, you know, instead of spending that money every day, put it into stock in that company. Make your lattes at home and put stock into that company. It's not the same experience, right? Especially if you go for the emotional component, but it's the logical solution to managing your finances so that you're not spending that money every day. And then invest or put your time into a healthy hobby so that you are connecting with a friend group, if that's why you're spending the money every day that you're spending on something that is not a necessity. But managing your finances, putting money into things that are beneficial for you. And oftentimes we kind of feel like, well, I can't afford that. I can't afford this. I can't afford that. But what are you spending money on every day that you can't afford to make you not be able to afford the things that you need or that you really want to put that money into? I have a great finance coach, if anyone's interested. There's also tons of free resources, and I'll post a resource for each of these components as well. The third component is intellectual. The intellectual component states, be open to new ideas, be creative, think critically, and seek out new challenges. So you constantly want to have your mind working and growing and developing, right? So, we don't just turn 21 and like we know everything. We don't need to learn anything else. Even though we might think that, oh, we're grown now, whatever. We're 30, we're 40, we don't, I know things, but in a healthy, realistic, holistic manner, you want to constantly be learning and growing. Why not? Literally, why not? It's not hurting you to learn new things. I think that most of us feel like when we're in our 30s, we kind of know everything, and it's so untrue. Even if you went to college straight out of high school, you soaked up everything you could, there's still that life experience, Learn. I like having conversations with people who are older than me significantly because they've lived a life. And even if we don't have the same opinion on things, I value their perspective because they've learned through living. There's certain things that my kids find interest in that I try to learn about too, because why not? If it's a sport or a hobby or activity or something like that, why not? Why not just continue to learn and grow? I'm approaching 40 soon. I've gotten into consistently going to the gym and not just paying for a membership I don't use, which I did for a very long time. I'm looking at going into 40 as what new things can I excel at? I want to go in healthy, strong, and kind of the opposite of when I think about going to 50 or 60, 70, I think it's important to prepare. So instead of, well, I'm almost 40, so, what's the point in changing? I'm excited to change things so that I don't have to stress and worry about these things when I'm 50, 60. It's harder to start the older you get, but it's not impossible. So, intellectual, be open to new ideas, new ways to be creative, critical thinking, really diving and trying to understand things, reading, educating yourself on things instead of just forming opinions. And grown-ups form opinions from things they hear too. It's not just something kids do. We hear things. I don't pay attention to the news because I hate the news. I feel like most of it's negative, and from a particular perspective anyway, always be open to critical thinking, creativity, and seeking new challenges, whether they be physical or mental. The next component is occupational. The occupational component states, seek to have a career that is interesting, enjoyable, meaningful, and that contributes to society. I feel like not everybody might agree with that part, that your career has to contribute to society. And sometimes you have a career because it contributes to your family. It takes care of the financial obligations that your family has. It takes care of, your need to feed and support your family. And that's okay to an extent, but if you're thinking about really honing in on your holistic wellness and taking care of your overall self, going to a job every day that doesn't fulfill you can also spill over into your personal and your social life, right? We know that if we're not happy in our careers, we're not happy other places, or we express that unhappiness in other places. So the goal is to have a career that provides what you need financially, but also provides what you need emotionally and socially. It kind of, and the thing about these components is they all intertwine. The wellness wheel targets your holistic wellness. It targets all components of your life. And, if you're not happy in your career, it's going to affect other areas. You may be paying the bills, or you may be not. Maybe you're in a career that sucks. You're not happy socially. You're not happy emotionally. You're not happy financially because you're not paying the bills that you need to pay. Or you're paying the bills, but you can't support your habit, which goes back to your financial wellness. They all tie in together. But honing in on your holistic wellness, targeting the occupational component, we know that it's not necessarily as easy as if you're not healthy. I mean, if you're not happy, go somewhere else, right? It's not always. There's always factors. But the important part to focus on is, what factors can I change? What factors can I manipulate to turn this into a component that is healthy and successful for me and contributes positively to my other components? The next component is physical. Taking care of your body for optimum health and functionality. And this is whatever is healthy for you, right? I have a nerve and artery issue, makes certain exercises difficult. So I've learned how to try to kind of adjust those workouts to ways that still are successful but aren't super painful, because that's not necessarily healthy or successful either. It could be eating healthier, making better choices. You could also start with smaller portions. Technically, and
try to be mindful of this, but I don't always do it because I'm imperfect. So technically, you shouldn't eat a larger portion of the size of the palm of your hand. So when you're eating one at a time, or you're eating, your small meals throughout the day, it shouldn't be larger than the size of the palm of your hand. So if you're eating 6 small meals, those small meals should be about this. I have big hands, so the palm of your hand. How much you're eating, portion control, spread out during the day, uh, what you're eating. Maybe you need to incorporate more healthy greens, more salads. Um, Maybe you need more protein. There's also when you go to get your annual blood work done, your annual testing, which is important too, the older you get especially. Focus on those things too. Is your vitamin C low, your vitamin D, these things are important too. And so that contributes to your physical well-being. Um, Getting 30 minutes of exercise. It could be jogging. You could start out walking around the neighborhood 30 minutes. Set you a timer, go walk for 30 minutes. Gradually increase that to jogging, to running, to exercising. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to go to the gym. That's preferential. You don't have to go to the gym. You could just walk around your neighborhood. But physical activity is not only healthy and productive for your body, it's also healthy and productive for your mind. Mental clarity, getting a break from the stress of the day, things like that, tying into your other components. So any physical activity, um, it could be even as simple as wearing sunscreen. I like to lay out, but I'm very particular. I've learned, you know, lay out, only lay out for like 15, 20 minutes at a time, maybe 30, depending on the UV, pay attention to the UV rays that day, things like that. Your physical wellness isn't just about exercising. What are you putting into your physical body as well? What are you putting on your physical body as well? Uh, where are you getting your tattoos done? Or some, oh, my friend has a tattoo gun and they don't really know what they're doing. That stuff you're putting on your body. So anything that's related to on or in your body is your physical component. Just focus on taking care of it. Like I said, no matter what you're putting in it or you're putting on it, paying attention to your allergies. If you're allergic to something, pets, what can you do to protect yourself and keep yourself healthy? I'm allergic to cats and apparently a little allergic to dogs, and I have 2 dogs and a cat. So, I'm trying to focus lately on making sure that I dust every day. Make sure that before I sit down on something that I place a barrier or, clean it, whatever. There's certain things you could do. You can actually give your cat a bath once a week if you're allergic to it, if they won't try to kill you over it. The dogs, stuff like that too. Not eating things you're allergic to, literally anything to do with your physical body, inside and outside, is your physical component. The next component is your social component. Build personal relationships with others, deal with conflict appropriately, and connect to a positive social network. This is another one of those kind of like your environment that sometimes it can be difficult to control. If you work somewhere around other people, you can't necessarily always control the people that work with you. But you can try to control the environment that you're in. So if it's your job, you can try to control the atmosphere that you create and how you're contributing to the mood in that office. Conflict resolution in your household, your office, going to get your latte, driving, maybe yell at less people. I'm really nice to everybody typically. Try to be compassionate, but I get really, ooh, people don't just turn signals specifically really piss me off. Oh, and that's something that I can work on to control my environment when I'm in the car and the positive atmosphere in the car of someone who's with me. So, um, but personal relationships, building healthy personal relationships, not just people just to have in your life, building healthy personal relationships, handling conflict appropriately, not yelling and screaming at everybody, not always thinking everybody's wrong, claiming everyone's wrong. We're currently working on teaching my youngest son self-awareness. So being aware of yourself, how you are reacting to people, what you're doing to create what situation, what you're doing to negatively affect the situation. So if something is going on around you, what are you doing to keep that situation negative? Martin and I talk a lot about expectations, reacting instead of responding, things like that. How do you handle conflict? How do you resolve conflict? Are you being self-aware and saying, hey, you know what? This is what I did in my part in the situation? Or is everybody else just to blame? How do you handle conflict? Sometimes if I've got too much going on in here and like kids and stuff, I'm like, hold on, just give me a minute. I don't want to react, right? Like, just give me a minute so I can appropriately respond. And that's okay. Telling people, hey, I just need a minute, taking a minute so that you can process and respond instead of react. And connecting to a positive social network. So connecting yourself with people who are healthy for you and not staying in toxic, unhealthy relationships, friendships, romantic, sexual, whatever. Recognizing when things are unhealthy and separating yourself from them when they are relatives or not, romantic or not. The next component is spiritual. And I try to point out a lot that this is spiritual, not necessarily religious, because not everyone is religious, and that's fine. Not everybody believes the same thing. Not everybody even practices the same religion the same way. Perfectly fine. The spiritual component states, find meaning in life events, demonstrate individual people, demonstrate individual purpose, and live a life that reflects your values and beliefs. And there is a way to do that without judging others, right? You can live spiritually or even religiously in a way that doesn't judge or condemn other people for having different beliefs. I think that's super important. The fact of the matter is there are different religions. There's even different denominations of religion. Not everybody practices things the same way. I've become a little more particular in how I practice my spirituality because I aim to become less religious and more spiritual. So, and if you are a ritualistic person, that's fine too. The goal is to just find meaning and purpose in ways that are healthy, that are not judgmental, but living in a way that reflects your values and beliefs. So if you say, okay, this is my belief, these are my values, that you respectfully and healthily live that way. If you believe in it, if you really believe in it, then live it. Don't be hypocritical about it. Don't make it complicated. This is what I believe. This is what I practice. And this is what it is. And that's perfectly fine. Also, with respect to focusing on holistic wellness, it's important to do those things in a way that is healthy for yourself and that creates a healthy environment for others as well. The last component is emotional. Have a strong sense of self that supports your ability to recognize, share, and be kind to yourself as well as others as you experience a wide range of emotions. So be kind to yourself while you're experiencing emotions, whether you are experiencing grief, whether you're PMSing, whether you're learning something new that may be a little difficult, whether you are adjusting to a new event in life, a new time in life. Educate yourself, work to learn and understand those emotions, the whys, the hows, and learn to live those emotions in a way that are healthy to the environment you're in, but also that show yourself love, patience, and kindness. Depression, anxiety, understand that you're a human. Educate yourself on why you're experiencing these things. Learn through therapy, through reading, learn about these things, understand why you're going through them, and treat yourself with patience and kindness and respect as you experience these emotions and these life events. Like I said, the wellness wheel ties your holistic components together, or all of your components together to create a holistic wellness. There's a resource for each component in the description. And I hope that this was really helpful. I may just do an episode or maybe a mini episode on each one of these components in the future. If that's something that you're interested in, or if you're interested in speaking with me, or another relationship coach, or speaking with me about relationship or parenting coaching, or just general mental health and wellness coaching, you can contact me. Again, check out that website, philology.net. And if you have more questions about any of these components or all these components, email me or message me on social media. I hope this was helpful for you, that you enjoyed it. And if not, share it with somebody else who it might be helpful to. You never know if somebody's going through something, how much just a little bit of information can benefit them. As always, thank you for listening and see you next time. Check us out on YouTube at Reah Higgs, ReahHagues. You can also keep up with us on Instagram at Just the Who Podcast.